welcome to Batch It, because we are batshit about The Bachelor. I'm Kristin.
And I'm Reid.
And we are getting crazy today because we switched seats for those of you that aren't watching and just listening. So it's getting pretty wild already.
Yeah, I know. It's almost as dramatic as this week's episode. And the drama, I guess, that would make from this is just as pointless as the drama from this week's episode. What did you think about it?
Yeah, very. I mean, the Sydney and Maria thing last episode, I was like, okay, they're going to drag this on. I already know. And then this episode, I was like, all right, maybe, half of the episode will be on this drama. And it just went on and on and on. And we'll probably continue to go on.
Oh, we're not
week.
Done.
So, but I'm already over it. Oh my gosh. Where are they filming Sydney and they're not showing her side of the story? I mean, where is she? Like, this is coming out of left field. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't understand what the problem is, because like all the other contestants are just like, yeah, I don't really think it matters that much. And
Medina doesn't even care. And this is about Medina.
It's about Sydney at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody knows why, including her, like why this is a problem, but it is apparently. And I could not care about this and like care less about it. As I'm just like, who cares? Like, I feel like you're making a problem out of nothing. Because normally, as I mentioned this before we started recording, it's like normally when there's the villain, because Maria's, the villain, every other contestant's just like, yeah, I hate them. But like here, everybody's like, yeah, she's fine. And I don't think they really dislike Sydney either. I think they just like don't care.
Well, I think that Sydney is actually the villain. But I think that because they show Edwina being like, what's up with Sydney? What? Also, I didn't love that Leia was talking to Sydney and Leia was getting drug into Sydney's side.
Yeah, I think
when they were sitting, at the pool party date.
They were all just sitting there just like, fuck, can we just get out of this, please? Like, I didn't want, like, and there's like, yeah, it just seemed like they were trapped and there's like, man, maybe we can get out of here. It's like, who cares? And it's so pointless, because I was recapping as I was driving here, thinking about like what actually happened. I forgot her name. What's her face was complaining about that she felt sensitive that she was old.
Medina.
Yeah, Medina. I promise I'll learn the names at some point. We're down to like, what, 13 or 14 people?
Yeah, it's
14.
down there. Okay.
We're in the top half now.
Wow.
As he just burned out those people. At least the people that are left, I feel like I know who they are.
Yeah.
Because the few people he sent them there, I'm like, who is that?
Although they showed a girl the entire episode, and I was like, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? And it was Star, who ended up getting sent home anyway.
Oh, did she? I didn't even notice.
Every time they showed her, I was like, who is this girl? What's going on? But I think a recap is good for those of you that maybe missed the last episode or missed the last episode of our podcast. What's going on with the drama between Sydney, Medina, and Maria? So
Medina comments, she's like, I'm really concerned that I'm like old at 31. And then everybody's like, yeah, okay. And like, to be fair, everybody else there is like 23. So I guess you could feel that way. And Joey's 28, I think. And then Maria talks to somebody else. I don't remember who she was talking to. This person like totally just dodged a rocket, because they aren't involved at all in this somehow, even though they totally were. I don't remember who it was. And Maria was just like, yeah, who cares? I'm also old. And I think a lot of people are offended by that who are like above the age of 23. But I think her point was like, I'm not 23, like the average age of this show. So like, I'm old. And then Sydney overhears parts of this or something from some amount of distance away. And then she makes it her crusade to go tell Medina. And then Medina's kind of upset. And then eventually Sydney Medina talks to Maria about it. And then Maria's just like, who told you? Like, kind of, because Maria's like kind of intimidating. Mm-hmm. And then eventually she finds out it's Sydney. And then where I think the problem comes in is Maria's like trying to understand what's going on. She's like demanding some sort of answer. And I don't think Sydney has any answers. So like they're just incompatible people because she's just like, my feelings were hurt. And she's just like, why is that? And she's like, I don't know. My feelings were hurt. So then eventually Maria makes up with Medina, and I think they're fine or whatever. And then you don't really hear anything about it. And then Sydney's just like, yeah, she's really mean still. So I'm gonna go make a deal out of this again. Oh, and Joey's just like, yeah, I heard somebody was bullying or whatever. I think that's the thing is like Medina was smart enough to not put anybody's name in that, which was a smart thing to do. But yeah, so that's the whole thing based off of like almost nothing.
Right, based off of an age. So she's 31. She feels insecure about it. Maria's 29. She said, hey, I'm also one of the oldest girls in the house. And, I think I'm hot. And I think it's an advantage. And I feel good about it. And, I don't think you should feel upset about it. And Medina felt like her feelings weren't validated, right? And that's how this whole thing began. And then I think somehow Sydney shimmied herself in there. And now Medina's like, no, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm over it. And when Joey brought it up to Medina, she kind of didn't want to talk about it. She was like, I'd rather focus on our connection than focus on the situation that I don't really care about,
Yeah. And that's probably because Medina's not 23. So she's capable of like, it really doesn't matter.
Right. And I think she's just not a dramatic person.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, that happened X amount of days ago. I'm over it. Let's move on. And I think Sydney is just wanting to get her 15 minutes of fame or, who knows what's going on in her brain.
I don't know. And I'm wondering, like, is there something else going on? I just, like, don't see what the problem is. Because it seems like, as I have to, whoever's editing this, I have so much appreciation for this person because, like, some of the stuff they do, like, it's so predictable how they edit things at this point. But sometimes they, like, subvert the trope. And I really appreciate it. It's like this, they've got Sydney talking about how evil Maria is and whatnot. And normally when they do this type of like snitch versus villain thing, they'll show the villain and the villain looks like all like intimidating or whatever. But here they cut her in and she's just like standing there, like looking at the like pantry or whatever, or just like sitting,
she's dancing around the kitchen.
Yeah, and I'm just like the irony with like the juxtaposition, just like, oh, she's so mean and evil, and she's just like standing there doing nothing, and it's normally they look all scary, mean, and whatever.
Well, and typically the whole house has a problem with the villain.
Yeah,
and I feel like in this instance, there's one person with the problem.
Yeah,
it's just Sydney has the problem with Maria, and nobody else seems to have a problem with Maria. And I think everyone understands that Maria is just a very blunt, tell it how it is person, and they just know that that's how she is.
Yeah, and it was and Joey, I gotta say to Joey, if he ever listens to this, which whatever, but
he definitely will.
Yeah, he definitely will. Joey will listen to it. He'll accept our rose. He's so good at this.
Yes.
Because the more I was paying attention to this, I'm like, the amount of like emotional trauma dumping that's happening on this dude, like very quickly too, for this show is like a lot. And he's like so good at it, like saying the right things and just like, yeah, I totally understand. I'm like, I'm just so glad you showed me your soul. That's always what they're like. But I feel like he's much better at this than other people I've seen before.
I agree. It comes off like more genuine. What did you think of the pool party when Sydney, pulls him to the side and is like, this has to be addressed, and has the conversation with him, right? Which we'll talk about. And then after is like, sorry, everyone, it got cut short. This had to be addressed. And everyone was like, oh, God, rolling their eyes,
Yeah.
But the conversation with him, I mean, yeah, he handled it really well. But what do you think of the word, her using the word bullying?
Well, that's what Medina said. She said, I felt bullied. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like that's a Bachelor buzzword.
Right.
Like, oh, I felt bullied. And I don't know. It's just strange to me because, like, in the same age range as these people, I'm just like, I don't I just don't feel that way like around people. Was like if I don't like them, I'm like, who cares? Screw them,
Right.
and like and I move on with my life. And it's just like it feels so high school or middle school sometimes on this show.
Yeah, I was ready for Sydney to leave. I knew it was going to come down to Maria and Sydney.
Oh, it was guaranteed.
I knew that it was, but I thought one of them was going to get a rose. And then both of them got a rose, which means that this is just going to linger on and on and on.
I think we're done next episode with this, though. I mean, they got to cut it at some point, and which kind of shows that probably not a lot of drama happened. This shows this is the best they could do.
Well, also, and that could be good or bad, but also like next, it looks like the preview for next episode, Sydney and Maria go on a 2-on-1. So that will be some hot tea to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. And even in the preview, she does it again. They're like literally they're sitting there, and she's like, "I gotta talk to you." I'm just like, what is so important? Like, what is going on?
My 15 minutes of fame. It's very important.
Yeah, well, I don't understand what's going on with this. Normally with the villain or something, like I see what the problem is, but I just like don't get it at this point.
Yeah, exactly what you said. Is something being edited out? Like Sydney's entire life story of why she feels bullied by this person? What conversations are happening with her and Maria behind closed doors? Or is Sydney just pulling this out of nowhere?
Yeah, because like I felt like with Maria, because she reacted to that much better than I thought she was going to. I thought she was going to be kind of like angry, because at first when she's like, I got to talk to you about something, I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. She's going to make this bad for herself by bringing it up. But she doesn't. She's just sour because, we can probably actually switch to that. And how do you feel about the talent show during the first group date?
Yeah. So the talent show, I mean, really that just makes me think of Lexi kissing him and winning the contest.
I thought it was it Lexi? I thought it was Kelsey.
Oh, it was Lexi. So Kelsey A, she was still really quiet. I think she's a front runner.
Oh,
she has like the really long, thick hair. Lexi was the one who was dressed up kind of like a cowgirl, in my opinion. And she was like, I'm a really good kisser, or whatever her talent was.
That was her talent.
Whereas Kelsey A, I don't even know if they showed what she did, honestly, but I mean, here's the thing. I think Kelsey A is a front runner, but they just do not show her. And she's not a very, like, outgoing person, it seems. She's kind of, like, in the background. She's kind of shy. I feel like when they show her, it's not as memorable. But I do think he really likes her, and I think she's going to make it. But she had the pajamas with, like, Joey on the back, and, like, there was, like, stuff on the butt. It was cute.
I was thrilled with this date, because they're just like, oh, we're going to do evening casual. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm expecting like, they're going to be like, here, put on this lingerie or whatever. And they didn't. They wore like normal clothes. I was like, thank you. Because it's so hard to, and I mean, I definitely would not have wanted to do this date. I much would have preferred to do the tennis date.
Right.
Would you be in the same boat?
I think they were both kind of fun. Honestly, I feel like it was cool that they brought in the Golden Bachelor, some of the Golden Bachelor contestants. I like the Sunday. It was like the Sunday relax day outfit. I have no idea what my talent would be,
Just be like, oh, I'm the world's greatest kisser because I don't have a talent.
Well, and that's a controversial one. So what do we think of her winning the contest with kissing him?
I saw it a mile away.
I hate it. I don't think it was fair. I agree with all the girls.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I saw it a mile away. The moment he did that, I'm like, this homie's totally going to go for the girl that's just making out with him. Like, I saw it so far away.
Yeah.
And whatever, the Golden Bachelor ladies said, who knows, but like, or how much say, but I knew that was going to happen. I mean, I think I really like him. He's probably one of my favorites I've seen. But at the same time, he's just like, yeah, I don't want to make out with all these women. It's just like, bro, what's not pretend here, like what's, and like we all know what's going on, at least I feel like I do. It's like I see through your lies, Joey, and fine, if that's like, I'm sorry, can't blame him, but it was totally unfair though.
Right. And what do you think of what did you think of Sydney's cheerleading talent?
I didn't like it. I'm sorry, I just didn't like it. It felt very,
it was giving ick.
Yeah, I just did not like it. It felt very uncomfortable. in a bad way.
Yeah.
Because like some of the other ones I felt uncomfortable as I knew they were like putting themselves out there doing something they normally wouldn't do.
Yeah, I think Edwina's song was, good for her for doing that, because I think that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, and like she put herself out there, and I know she was a little nervous about it, where I felt like Sydney was very confident in herself, and I just didn't think like, I mean, whatever, it was fine, I guess, but I mean, I'm not expecting them to do anything like amazing. I mean, Maria, she had some hops though. Like she was.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
she was doing the flips and the splits, and I saw that coming from a mile away.
Did you really?
I can imagine the type of person she is, and yeah, that didn't surprise me.
Everybody's hating on me for being the Maria in the Maria club, I guess, or whatever, but I don't think she's that bad. I think she's fine.
I'm in the Maria club now. When she was crying about, being accused of being a bully and saying that she's been bullied before in the past, that really did pull at my heartstrings. And that's when I knew I'm Team Maria.
Yeah, I mean, just like her reaction to that was so contrary to any other time somebody gets accused of something, because she was just like, her face was so funny. Because at first she just like, I felt like she was keeping on looking around for Sydney or something, and she really wasn't making that great of eye contact, because I feel like she's just like, what is going on? Like, what is the point of this? Like, I don't know. It's just very different, because she's just like, I hope I can be done with this, and it just doesn't feel the same to me.
My only issue with Maria at this point is that her boobs are out constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's too much for me. Every outfit, if the boobs aren't out, then she's going to change into something where her boobs are out.
Yeah, slip into something more comfortable.
I mean, the boob is an all-time high. So, but other than that, I like her. And, Joey maybe likes that about her.
And he definitely does. I mean, like, whether or not he'll admit it is another story, but I think he actually does like her. So
right, I think he does too. And I actually think they'd be a really cute couple.
Yeah, he's just, I can't get over, he just feels, I feel like I'm just like glorifying him or something, but he just feels very different to me than any of the other ones I've seen.
Right, I think he handles situations a lot better than a lot of other bachelors, for sure. So on that date, Kelsey A ended up getting the date rose.
That's why I probably thought that she was the one who kissed or whatever.
Right. And again, we talked about Kelsey A, not memorable in my personal opinion, but I think he likes her. I think she's going to go far. And I actually don't know even how she got the group date rose. I don't even know what happened to make
That's
her
why I thought she was the one who was kissing or something,
way.
and that's why they were like sour. Oh, right. Lexi won the Mrs. Right. Okay, there we go.
Pageant contest, yeah, right.
Which meant nothing, I guess.
Right. Because they all still had an evening date with him.
Yeah, it meant nothing. Yeah, so...
It was probably just to kind of stir the pot a little bit.
Oh, yeah, they definitely did. Like, she knew what she was doing. She knew she was going to piss everybody off, and everybody looked pissed off.
Yeah.
But it worked. I'd say quite well for her. So, yeah. And like girls have done this like 3 or 4 times on this season, and it's worked every single time.
Right.
Without a fail. So like it's in your interest to do it. And I feel like you just have to kind of get over that. All the other girls are probably going to despise you for like a hot minute.
Well, and maybe producers encourage that, because I do think Lexi is also a front runner.
Really?
She's not my personal favorite, but I do think that she is going to be a front runner. I mean, I personally think she's going to go home right before hometowns, but I feel like, according to the internet, a lot of people think she's going to go far.
I see, because you were a big Kelsey believer, and I was a big Kelsey denier, but like after just hearing some of the things he said, I'm like, yeah, okay, he likes her. Because he said some things, he's just like, I don't know what it is about her. She just like really surprises me. Right. They all love being surprised.
Right.
And that's why during the tennis date, which seemed pretty good, and Daisy was just like, yeah, I really hope I get the group date rose. I'm like, girl, you're definitely not getting the group date rose.
No.
You had your very sad story, and you told him that, and you got the date for that, or the rose for that. But, and like, good on you for that, and like, I have a lot of respect for Daisy. But the problem with the show is, she's now, said her sad story.
Right.
So somebody else now can say their sad story, and what happens? The person who did that got the rose.
Right. Do you think that now that Daisy kind of had the first one-on-one and pulled out that story, that now she's going to be kind of pushed to the background?
Yeah.
And potentially other people will pass her.
Yeah, I mean, I still think she's going like almost all the way at minimum, but I think we just want, I mean, we didn't really see a whole ton of her. We just had one conversation with her, which seemed nice, but she's just gonna be hanging out in the back. She's too smart to say something dumb.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think the same thing's gonna happen with Leia. She came in even harder, faster, and she's already like not there.
Yeah, and I thought they were gonna make a big deal about her talking to Sydney, but they didn't. So that was good. But yeah, that put a sour taste in my mouth for her. So yeah, transitioning into the other date. So the other date was the tennis date. We had the baby team with Autumn and Daisy. And then we had Lobster and Butter with Evelyn and Kelsey T. And then we had...
There was the hot dog team.
Oh, yeah, the hot dog Star and Rachel.
And there was a fourth team, wasn't there?
There was a fourth team.
I don't remember.
Oh, no. I guess it wasn't that memorable. Well, anyway, so Kelsey T and Evelyn ended up winning that date, which Evelyn, super athletic. She's the one who jumped over the table for the wedding date, and she won the tennis competition. I really like Evelyn a lot. Spoiler alert, she goes home this episode. I was so disappointed because I think she's awesome. I think she's great TV. I hope that she's on Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, she's coming back. I mean, she made it halfway, and she's interesting, so she'll be there. I mean, like Maria and Sydney, they'll be there too. Like, I don't see...
Oh, yes. 1,000%.
Sure. The real question is who's going first on, and they'll be like, oh, I'm so glad the other one's not there. And then, like, 100% they will be there. Guaranteed.
Yes.
And
yes. The drama will continue.
Yeah, so the question is, who do you think's going to not make it on this 2-on-1? One of them or both of them?
Oh, I think Maria's going to make it.
I think so, too.
And I think Sydney is going to be cut.
Which...
I don't know how Maria's going to wiggle her way out of the drama, but I think she's going to be able to do it. I mean, even when Maria was defending herself in front of Joey at the pool party date, she said, listen, I'm putting it on the table. I don't know what else to tell you. You believe me or you don't. And that's what I like about Maria, even though I was a hater at first. But, is that she is just very like, this is who I am. I'm an honest person. Take it for what it is. And I think some people have a hard time absorbing someone who's that blunt. And other people really love people that are that blunt and have a lot of respect for people that are that blunt.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm like in the Maria camp or whatever. But because I feel like I'm rather blunt myself. Mm-hmm. But even with this, like, what did she even say to Sydney? Like, I just keep saying like, oh yeah, she's kind of like, rough around the edges or a firecracker, like Joey said. And I'm thinking like, what did she even say? Like, what did she do? Like, I just feel like nothing happened. And
nothing happened in this. We're all equally confused. I agree.
It's not like, oh, she said something that's really blunt and came off weird. I just feel like she did nothing. And like, this is a big issue now, apparently.
Right. So going into the evening portion of the, date of the tennis date, Caitlin talks about a family curse. So her family curse, how all of her female relatives are single, and Joey handled that really well.
It was genius. He's just like, yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of strong, independent women. I'm like, man, this guy, like, did somebody write this for him? Like, because if I was in a situation, I'm like, oh, that's too bad for them.
Right.
And like,
no, he had a great positive response. I love that.
Yeah, so I'm like taking notes.
Yeah. And then what did someone get? So Caitlin got the group date rose.
Because she told her sad story.
Because she told her sob story. Is that a sob story?
No.
Questionable.
No, it's really
but
not.
She opened up, which we appreciate. And Caitlin's the team that we're missing with the tennis date.
I can't remember what
And
it
I
was.
really can't remember what she was. And Evelyn was on that date too. So maybe they were partners. Maybe I'm making
Yeah,
this
the
up.
tennis date, I guess, is the one where he went to die. A lot of those people got sent home.
And then, even though we touched on the pool party earlier, okay, what did you think of KFC marketing galore
glad you
at
said that.
the pool party? So much.
I totally forgot about that. And I'm so glad you remember that, because I remember thinking about that specifically. Because at the beginning, I got some ad for KFC. I'm like, why are they advertising like this? It was so bizarre to me. Like, they're acting like they're in on the joke or something. I'm just like, you're KFC.
Right.
Like, this is American KFC. They are not in on the joke. If this was like, European or Japanese KFC where they don't suck, then like fine. But yeah, that was so strange. It's just like, and Joey wanted to bring KFC. I'm like, no, he didn't. He did not want to do that. I guarantee you that was the last thing he thought of. They wanted him to bring it in and then everybody was like in love with it. They're like, this is my favorite food. And it's like, there's no way.
There's no way. Also, with how those girls looked in the bikini, do you think that they're going to eat KFC and get in a bikini and hang out with Joey? Not a single one of them is going to do that.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was just rattled to my core. And like, they even took the like sexy pan shot, like, oh, look at all the KFC. I mean, it did look pretty good, but
it did look delicious. They had KFC beach towels. They had KFC floaties in the pool. I mean, they really took it to the next level with this KFC stuff. And I feel like KFC was the most random food to have there.
Are they trying to
most random sponsor?
I'm so glad you put that there. I was so taken aback by that. I'm just like, why are they marketing here? Is their play just like, oh yeah, we're really gonna get on the Bachelor watch parties now with KFC?
Right.
And I just didn't understand. And even more shocking is all the girls were just like, oh, I got it all the time. My grandma loved it. Like Daisy said that. I'm just like so confused. I'm like, you're from
real?
Minnesota, girl. Like I doubt that's like that popular there, is it? Like,
not that I know of, but
they all loved it.
they were all going crazy. But that could also be just a facade.
I mean, maybe KFC had a sack of cash behind the camera. It's just like, if you love it, we'll just hand you some cash. But it was just like, it was so bizarre.
They're like, really scream for the KFC.
Or maybe these girls were just like, I haven't eaten anything in like a week.
Yeah.
I've just been drinking alcohol nonstop. So what are they going to do? Eat the date food?
Oh, well, what I also will say is, although when Sydney talked to him, we don't like the situation. Sydney is a villain. I didn't love her swimming suit, but what I can say is I don't think she had any KFC because her stomach was looking flat.
Yeah, none of them did.
Right.
You don't go on that show to eat.
Right.
You go on that show to like look at food that looks good and be disappointed, and then eat some other time, because we can't eat on this show. Because
So they ordered all the food. That's true. They don't eat on the show. So they ordered all this food just for the staff to eat all of it.
yeah, at least it didn't go to waste. That's probably what happened. Or maybe they eat like afterwards or something. Eat some like cold.
And some cold KFC
Yeah.
after the pool party's over, and they can get in sweats. I appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to touch on is the one-on-one date with Jenn. Yeah. So Jenn, beautiful. So she has the one-on-one date. They go surfing. There were several scenes of her just belly flopping off of the surfboard into the water, which I don't know how to surf. So, I'm not saying anything bad. I would probably look worse than that. She probably did better than me. Maybe that's how you learn how to surf. Who knows? But there were several scenes of that. Did you feel chemistry on that date? And what are your opinions of Jenn?
I didn't really know what to think of her for a while. I thought she was just kind of like one of those people that's there. But I think he really likes her, because I was really surprised that she's the one who got the one-on-one, as I just figured she's like, she'll just stick around a while and eventually leave. And I'm like, who's that? But I think he actually likes her. Like, I really do. And, I mean, her story was pretty good. I think he's into her like quite a bit, and she seems nice. I mean, I don't really have like a whole ton to say about her at this point anyway, but she seems nice, and like She's a PA student. I hope she finishes.
Right.
And doesn't become like a social media influencer, but time will tell. But yeah, I mean, she seems good.
Yeah. I think she's beautiful. I could feel a connection, but not as strong as I feel like he has with other people. So I feel like she's not making it to hometowns. I mean, I think she'll make it for a while. Her race car entrance, I still love her on the go-kart, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
I still love that. And yeah, I mean, she's stunning, and I think her swimming suit was gorgeous. And
oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, maybe we should have made remind me next time we can do this. We can do like a swimsuit power ranking or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and
Sydney 0.
she's right at the bottom tier. Or we can make the tier list or whatever. And,
yeah. But no, Jenn was looking cute, and they did have fun on the beach, and but and it was a cool date. It was fun to see Joey surf.
He was pretty good.
And he was pretty good, and that was fun to see. And it was cool to see 2 dates where he was really in his element, of the tennis date and the surfing date. That was really fun.
I still have to say, they have not said, I'm disappointed, and I look like total shithead for this. I kept on saying, they're going to say, oh, well, Joey knows that love means something, unlike tennis players. And they haven't said it. Where is it?
And they didn't do any tennis puns during the tennis date. And it was funny because I thought of you and I thought, oh, they're definitely going to pull some out this time. And they did a lot of costume puns, but not tennis puns.
Yeah. And I just I can't help but wonder, how are all these people so into it? Like every single one of them was like, yeah, this is the greatest thing I've ever done.
Right.
This is hilarious. It's how do they profile these people like this? Or are they acting, or how? There's no way every single one, there's 8 people there. There's no way not one of them was just like, this is stupid.
Right. Well, they probably think that, but they're like, we're on TV, so we care about what they think. And we care about what people think. And this costume thing is going to drive me nuts. There's the babies, there's the hot dog and bun.
There's the lobster and butter. And I can't remember. I honestly can't remember what the other one was. This is going to drive me crazy. The costumes just seemed kind of strange to me. And I was just
right.
I'm just man, this date sounds great. I would much prefer to go on the tennis date. But then once they did the costumes, I was like, ooh, I'm not sure now.
Right. So kind of wrapping up the episode. So at the end, they have, multiple roses left. They show Sydney, they show Maria. We think one of them's going to go home. He keeps both of them. And Evelyn, Star, and Krissa end up going home. Like I said, Star, they were showing her the whole episode. I didn't know who she was. Sorry, Star. Evelyn, I'm devastated. And Krissa, Krissa, I felt like there was going to be more shown. I was excited to get to know her more. And so I am kind of upset.
Yeah, I had a good feeling about her, but she just didn't make it.
She's cool. She's pretty. Yeah, so let's talk about the preview for next week. So we have the 2-on-1 Maria and Sydney. And then in the preview for next week, it also looked like, as far as the 1-on-1 goes, it looks like it was going to be with Kelsey T or Rachel.
I thought there was one with Jess. There was the paint thing or whatever.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Jess. And Jess still drives me nuts. See,
she's barely even there.
She's barely in the show. But when she talks, I'm like, okay.
She was there for 2 seconds.
I know. I need to get over my beef with her.
I think because I thought I saw her on the the beloved Bachelor paint date where it was like, oh, we're gonna put paint everywhere,
right?
And it's so funny,
right? Yeah, that's true. That is a common date. And another thing I forgot to mention is on Jen's date, the night portion. What did you think of the light show with the Bachelor and the rose and will you accept this rose? And
I thought it was pretty cute.
I thought that was cute too. Was it a drone show or was it?
I thought it was just string lighting, but maybe I missed it or paid. I might not have. I need to watch it again.
I want to know how big it was and how theatrical it was.
Did they have a band or something playing for them?
I don't think they did. I think they just went to dinner, and then he didn't give her the rose, and they went out there, and he said, "Look," and it said, "Jen, will you accept this rose?"
Wow.
And
no fireworks.
No fireworks.
No B-list band. What is going on?
I thought he was going to take her to a concert, 1-on-1. No. Just a light show.
Next time.
Although we haven't seen that before. So that's why I was wondering how big and extravagant it was, or if it was just this small, and it was kind of hard to tell from the way they were filming. Okay. Any other final thoughts that we have wrapping up this week's episode and preparation for 2 episodes next week, Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, I think like they're going to spend a lot of time on this 2-on-1 and drag that out, which I'm like not super excited about because I like don't really care too much about this specific
We're over it. Goodbye, Sydney.
beef because I'm just like I don't understand what the problem is at all. It just like seems kind of pointless to me. But I mean, they're going to Malta. Looks pretty nice.
Yeah, that looks beautiful. I'm glad that they're finally like getting out and traveling. That'll be fun to see.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see. And yeah, we're just going to do one big episode for that, and we're adding a few other exciting little bits to that for next week. But yeah, I think one episode is just going to be entirely the 2-on-1, and or most of it, and you know whatever, and then we'll get to like actually what's going on, or maybe it'll be like 2 weeks or something. Total, like, you know,
Right.
2 rose ceremonies or something. Because I thought they were going to cut before the rose ceremony finished because they do that a lot of the time.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So then it's just more like a cliffhanger, and then they'll start with the end of the rose ceremony.
That's what I thought they were going to do, but they
Yeah.
didn't do that this time. So maybe it's just 2 weeks, or maybe they're going to drag it out into, you know, one really long week or something.
True. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting to see.
What's your prediction on that?
Well, I think that they're doing 2 episodes because they're going to skip a week for who knows what, some random reason that we don't understand. So I kind of think they're going to have Monday, Tuesday next week, and then the following Monday not have an episode for some random reason. But I like what you said about filling the whole first episode. Probably, I would say 70% is going to be the 2-on-1. The other 30% is just going to be showing them excited about going to a different country and, you know, having them walk around. Maybe it'll be similar to another date where they walk around. It's supposed to be a group date, and, you know, Joey gets sick and can't go or something, because they sometimes pull that, you know.
There's the classic walk around the city date. There's
Right.
always that one. I forgot about it.
And I feel like they kind of trim that short. So I bet it's going to be, let's walk around the city, and then the 2-on-1, and that's going to kind of sum up that whole thing. And then I think the next episode, I think you're right. I think the first one will end with a rose ceremony, and then, or it might end with a cliffhanger of the 2-on-1.
It could, yeah. Actually, I think that's likely. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, if he sends Maria home, I'm just gonna be a little shook.
I hope not.
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
or I mean, I think it's either Sydney's going home or both of them are going home, because like,
Yeah.
will Maria be able to pull out and pull like a Nick or a Corinne, or will she just like die off another week or 2 from now? Because that's usually what happens to the people that get involved in this stuff.
Right. All right, awesome. We'll stay tuned.
Yeah, and as always, thanks for joining us, and we hope that you'll accept this rose.